The lawsuit alleges Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and healthcare services in exchange for kickbacks and or compensation.
You know, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, you know, operates on someone even though they have insurance and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained to do.
Most important part. This is right after she was saying, we are run by ABC News. You should us, not Joe Rogan, who believes in drugs. So she by saying trust them because they're double checked by ABC News, and then making the stupidest.
He didn't hold back. I see. Even marshmallows required emotional support because of how badly he burned her. You won't believe what he said or how Sunny attempted to respond as her whole legal defense fell apart like a toddler's sloppy building effort while high on coffee. This takedown is more messy than a Kardashian Thanksgiving, so get ready. Prepare yourself to see some extreme humiliation up close.
You know, if you average out view hosts, among the dumbest people on television. And so it's like they say the thing that people are thinking, but they say it directly, so they expose whatever truth. But
I don't think some of them are dumb. I think she's ideologically driven, and they have blind for sure. Sunny's dumb. But Whoopi, certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a wealth.
It must have been an absolutely terrifying morning for Sunny Hostin. When your husband's name appears on Twitter along with terms like money laundering, racketeering, and, of course, a delicious $450 million federal indictment, it's a whole other level of terrible. That isn't your typical Tuesday. Hell, you wouldn't even see it in a mafia film. No, it's the kind of Tuesday when you're so embarrassed by your own actions that your organic smoothie will curdle.
You're married. If your husband's doing something, if he's allegedly doing something like this, you guys would know if your wives were up to some nefarious stuff. I forget who she is. She's been, for years, lecturing America about morality, inequality, systemic failures, and look at her track record. How many times does she have to go on in the past 2 months and look at the camera and do a legal apology for all the stuff that she said on the show? And then she also, Trump's win, calling the loss because of uneducated white women that Trump won.
We have to know that this is accused.
All accused. Yeah, all accused. But in the RICO, this is a big RICO case that are...
As if things couldn't get any worse for the queen of condescension herself, here comes Joe Rogan. Being roasted by a bald man wearing a hoodie, whose podcast studio most likely has better acoustics than your lawyer's office, is the epitome of PR disaster. Rogan did more than just gently make fun of Sunny. He deep-fried her reputation, served it with a side of ridicule, and added a dash of I told you so, particularly when Joy Behar joined in on the drama and Tulsi Gabbard defended herself.
Gabbard got on to defend herself, and Joy Behar starts panicking, going over her notes while Tulsi's refuting everything that she said.
Yeah, I mean, Joy Behar, like, again, these people have dementia. These are people who, like, should not be allowed out of the house. They have a national platform. I mean, it's crazy. They have no idea. People have never read, like, a book.
And there's versions.
He is reportedly moving up the ranks to become the genius behind a $450 million RICO case, despite formerly being known as the orthopedic physician who could hardly stand the view on silent. Since you can allegedly indulge in organized financial crime, why limit yourself to becoming a doctor? Like it was Black Friday, the federal government barged into the Department of Justice. According to reports, Emmanuel is connected to a huge network of dubious clinics, shell corporations, and false invoicing that would rival the telehealth startup in a Nicolas Cage film.
constituency, I think probably yes.
Well, a lot of people...
MSNBC viewers are probably also thinking,
I don't even think the MSNBC viewers. I think
that's
they're a
too
little
far.
bit more sophisticated than that.
Yeah.
This is like low information, blue no matter who, like older wives who are mad at the world. That's the deal that Whoopi Goldberg has. Does Whoopi children?
No idea.
They discovered everything from fancy automobiles purchased via Medicaid fraud to phantom patients. The small print now seems to include do no harm, that is, unless it's to the American taxpayer. Her spouse was out there reportedly making Tony Soprano appear like a tiny company owner with shaky credit, while Sunny was busy lecturing America about ethics. This is where the irony really shines, because it could power the whole East Coast. During his podcast, Joe Rogan, surrounded by UFC memorabilia and guests like Chad from Montana, not only recognized the hypocrisy but also lit it on fire. As if roasting Sunny was a morning ritual, Rogan slicked through her smugness with joy, while the steam of an espresso maker played in the background. His takedown was unexpected, untidy, and completely viral, like throwing a smoothie at a Tesla. While her own home seemed more like a motor scene than a home, he focused on Sunny's favorite pastime, reprimanding the country with an egotistical smile.
Waited my whole life for this. The surgeon and husband for the View host, Sunny Hostin, has been named in a federal lawsuit alleging insurance fraud. She got on television. She got in. She run these women. Tell why she got her husband is named in a lawsuit in this fraud. And I'm gonna show you exhibit. Let me say B. Can you show this to the jury? Roll it, Nick.
You know, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, you know, operates on someone even though they have insurance. And they're talking about threatening him with insurance fraud. I would say you could get about 20 years in prison, so that's a death sentence.
Joe gave the whole story with more snark than a Reddit post, so forget about court transcripts. The timing is equally as important as the roast. Sunny, who developed a whole on-air character as the moral compass amid pandemonium fueled by coffee, was abruptly forced to guide the HMS Hypocrisy directly into a federal charge iceberg. What's the greatest part? As if nothing had occurred, she continued to appear on The View. If your husband is suspected of widespread racketeering, can you see yourself going to work the next day, sitting down, and fervently discussing celebrity divorces as if you hadn't just spent the morning on the phone with your criminal defense attorney?
He's ideologically captured.
Right.
You know, that's sort of the other ones. There's a couple of the other ones. I won't have to name any names. Who are just very dull-minded. But I think Sunny's not one of them. I think she's smart but captured.
I think she came into it with an agenda.
Of course.
No.
They do everything with an agenda.
Yeah.
You know.
That right there's denial on an Olympic scale. Girl, what are we doing? Was probably even the teleprompter's reaction. She made an effort to maintain her composure, seeming as if she had spent the whole night erasing WhatsApp messages. However, neither Joe Rogan nor the internet forgets. He pointed out what we were all already laughing at. The only appropriate reaction when the most outspoken ethical speakers get embroiled in a multi-million-dollar fraud scam is to watch the fall from grace while munching on some popcorn. What a disaster that is. Emails, purchases, and witness statements are all receipts that federal prosecutors possess. This isn't only a weak tabloid headline. She is, after all, ideologically captured. Emmanuel may be replacing his orthopedic scrubs with a jumpsuit with numbers on the front in addition to facing penalties in home jail. ABC, meanwhile, is doing what they do best, which is to act as if nothing is going on.
This is right after she was saying, we are run ABC News. You should trust us, not Joe Rogan, who believes in dragons. So she by saying we should trust them because they're double checked by ABC News, making the stupidest statement. Like you didn't listen to what I said.
Yeah.
You didn't listen to what the wildlife biologist, and that's only a
Because ignoring the huge, glaring red controversy involving one of your top panelists is the epitome of journalistic honesty. Perhaps their goal is to distract us from the fact that someone's spouse reportedly operated a billing system so complex that it would need a PowerPoint to explain if they continue to discuss Taylor Swift's new album. Let's now review the responses. The internet community did not let us down. With jokes and memes spreading more quickly than court summonses, Twitter became a firing squad. And like a guy who had just been given a golden ticket of hypocrisy, Joe Rogan continued to fan the fires throughout it all. The truth is, Joe is obsessed with this. You give him a well-known figure in the media who has been hiding a ticking time bomb at home for years while posing as the conscience of the country. Rogan's Super Bowl is that. His moon is full. His motivation to go up and take the microphone. He just held the knife up and let it to reflect the ridiculousness. He didn't need to twist it. What's the kicker? All of this happened immediately after she said, ABC News is in charge of us.
get people thinking, like, if you could stop Hitler by any means necessary, wouldn't you stop Hitler? And so they equate Trump with Hitler and go, here you go, this is our modern Hitler. Do you see what Whoopi Goldberg said?
What'd she say?
Whoopi Goldberg said that Biden could arrest all the Republicans and put them in. You just need to see how unhinged this kind of thinking is. Well, you know what Biden could do? Joe Biden, you have to see it because it's so
on TV.
crazy.
She said it's on.
Sunny is now on the other side of the gavel, having previously used The View as her own courthouse. The lady who once grasped her pearls over political blunders is now avoiding the consequences of her own moral collapse. The finest aspect, her performance on the radio. She overcompensated as if her teleprompter were connected to a lie detector, and you could just smell the desperation in the room. It was daytime Emmy-worthy in its delusion, speaking too quickly, smiling too broadly, and over-articulating every line as if it would evade a subpoena. Not to mention the passive-aggressive tap dancing and I'm just going to force through attitude, akin to a soccer mom who has to host book club while learning that her children set fire to the PTA fundraiser. The View isn't journalism, it's a brunch brawl in high definition. Because maybe it's time to quit acting like the country's therapist when your moral compass is pointing directly towards federal jail. Naturally, The View has no intention of getting involved in this controversy. Acknowledging this degree of hypocrisy would be difficult, akin to attempting to eat crow with avocado toast. So if they do bring it up, you can sure it will be buried in ambiguous legalese and awkward laughing.
It's this very specific ideological bubble in which they operate in. You know, and they always bring on a token conservative woman and they yell over her and silence her. And, you know, they did that with McCain and they did that with the, what is that other woman from Survivor? Do you remember her? She was always yelling. I mean, it's just, it's a bizarre show. I think the way you the way you described it is brilliant, and we should all look at it. Of course, you're going to see. The idea of being colorblind is ridiculous, but treat everybody. They're just human beings. Everybody's just.
Joe Rogan's fan base is expanding in the meanwhile. They adore this. They thrive on it. These are the individuals who watch The View as if it were a warning about cognitive dissonance, the people who never believed the talking heads in the first place. The queen bee of moral indignation is now being watched as it writhes beneath the heat lamp like a phony doctorate. This is a textbook example of self-harm, not merely a PR catastrophe. Sunny's reputation is not simply damaged if Informational Hostin is fired, it is destroyed. Joe Rogan, too. While everything is falling apart, he will be playing the violin on the podcast deck.
Co-host Sunny Hostin's husband, Emmanuel Hostin, has been accused of federal insurance fraud. According to a new lawsuit by Page 6, the orthopedic surgeon was one of 200 defendants named in one of the biggest racketeer influence and organization cases ever filed in New York. Emmanuel was accused of federal insurance fraud and, quote, getting kickbacks by performing surgery and billing a company that insured taxi companies and Uber and Lyft drivers. According to the documents, he knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other health services, including arthroscopic surgeries. The insurance firm, American Transit, was then billed in exchange for kickbacks and other compensation, which were disguised as dividends or other cash.
They've brought out the stopwatch, the chessboard, and Stan, a forensic accountant who hasn't smiled since 1998. To be clear, a simple error is not the same thing as a RICO allegation. When someone purportedly creates a criminal organization so intricate that it virtually requires its own human resources department, the government employs them. We're talking about fraud, conspiracy, and racketeering, not a lost invoice or a billing code gone awry. It's the type of thing that turns spouses become complete public relations catastrophes and orthopedic doctors into cautionary stories. In addition to paying a fine and playing golf again, Informational Hostin will have to learn his prisoner number by heart and get used to wearing beige jumpsuits if found guilty. What about Sunny? The crowd may really begin to laugh, not at her quips, but at the sheer foolishness of it all. Given that her own home apparently required a search warrant, and a priest, how can she continue to advise Americans on how to conduct their lives? On social media, there is already a rising chorus of people urging Sunny to resign, take a leave of absence, or at the very least, quit behaving like she is superior. Not only is public opinion changing, it's whirling around like a meth-fueled carousel. America reacts like it's Shark Week when they detect hypocrisy, and the water becomes red. Joe Rogan, too. Oh, he's enjoying life to the fullest. He sees this as a sequel rather than just a scandal, reloaded. Joe versus The View. For years, he has been disparaging daytime TV anchors, accusing them of being phony thinkers with cue cards and glam squads. He now has a federal indictment wrapped around Sunny Hostin. It's like a cross between Christmas and a UFC championship match. In addition to making fun of Sunny, he is transforming the whole performative media elite institution into his own private comedy club. The sanctimonious elite aren't often humiliated on national television, although in a symbolic sense. However, nothing is off the table at this rate. The main lesson is to make sure that there isn't a $450 million fraud indictment waiting to backhand you in the middle of a sentence when you spend years pointing the blame at other people. If there is, let's hope Joe Rogan doesn't find out too late.